Chapter 494, 495, 496. Tigers and Leopards. After the train had been running in the dark for an hour and a half, it suddenly stopped midway. However, the door did not open, and Zhang Yi and his companions could vaguely see the cold light outside through the window. They leaned against the window and looked out, and saw a group of people rushing into another carriage. They were wearing clothes that were completely different from those of Zhang Yi and his companions, but they should also be special clothes with advanced cold-proof capabilities. As the light in the subway was very dim, Zhang Yi could not see their appearance clearly, but he could feel the murderous aura in the air in the shadows. Obviously, this group of people were the doomsday rulers of another city, and they were also ruthless characters who had fought their way out of the sea of blood and corpses. Sure enough, all those who went to Blizzard City this time were ruthless people. Zhang Yi could not help but sigh. But when they heard Zhang Yi say this, Xing Tian, Xiao Honglian, Qin Jingguan, and others looked at him with extremely strange eyes. Ruthless people? Are you talking about them? They are ruthless. Then you are Satan. Although Zhang Yi repeatedly reminded them not to reveal any information about him to the outside world, especially his strength. But everyone in Tianhai City knew that Yuan Kongya, who was originally in the realm of Ypsilon, was killed by Zhang Yi. And Zhang Yi, who absorbed the essence of Yuan Kongya, is now so terrifying that it is unimaginable. In fact, Zhang Yi always tends to forget how powerful he is. He feels that he is just an ordinary person, and he often reminds himself of this. Only in this way will he not be proud and complacent and make mistakes like Yuan Kongya did. That's right, if Yuan Kongya was replaced by Zhang Yi at this time, the ending would definitely be completely different. Yuan Kongya would lose, in large part because she believed in her own strength too much. Zhang Yi folded his arms and quietly observed everything outside. Soon the train started again. This scene continued 9 more times. Zhang Yi didn't know which batch of passengers he was on the train, but according to the geographical location, it shouldn't be too late. Through this, we can judge how many cities in Jiangnan district have large-scale alien forces. Because small-scale forces do not need to be summoned by Jiangnan district in person. For example, Tianhai City, where Zhang Yi and his team are located. Although only 4 major forces remain after the Battle of Baixuejiao. But Tianhai City is very large, and there are villages, towns, and prefecture-level cities around it, and there must be some small-scale human groups. And Jiangnan district does not need to govern them with long arms. It only needs to manage the head forces in each region, and the forces below will naturally be governed by the head forces. After a long journey, the train finally stopped at a brightly lit platform. When the train entered the platform, Zhang Yi and his team knew that it must be Jinling. Because only Blizzard City in Jinling is still able to maintain the normal operation of subway traffic, there will be lights. Zhang Yi glanced at the satellite phone, and the time displayed was a little after 6 o'clock in the evening. They took more than 3 hours on this trip, plus they had to detour to other cities on the way, which was relatively reasonable. At this time, the robot conductor suddenly twisted his neck and looked at Zhang Yi and others. She smiled and said, "Everyone, the terminal station Blizzard City has arrived. Please pack your luggage and belongings and get off the car as soon as possible. Everyone, the terminal station Blizzard City has arrived. Please pack your luggage and belongings and get off the car as soon as possible." Zhang Yi slowly stood up and said lightly, "Let's go." The eyes of the others were a little nervous. They stood up involuntarily and waited for Zhang Yi to lead the way out. Zhou Kuer and Lu Kuran were even more cautious, not leaving Zhang Yi's side for a moment. When Zhang Yi stepped out of the subway and came outside, he saw that the doors of more than a dozen carriages were opened, and groups of warriors dressed in combat uniforms and armed to the teeth walked out. Everyone seemed like an ancient heavy-armored warrior, wrapped in heavy combat uniforms. People stood side by side, shoulder to shoulder, looking at each other with fearful and cold eyes. Among this group of people, there were also people with unique clothes and even thin clothes. There were even some giants who were 4 or 5 meters tall and had to squat to crawl out. There were all kinds of people, making the entire subway platform look like an international exposition. A solemn and strange atmosphere filled the place. Zhou Kuer and Lu Kuran's faces were pale, and they could not bear the murderous aura that permeated the place. It was not that these warriors were deliberately releasing murderous aura to intimidate others, because murderous aura itself is a kind of breath that naturally appears on the body after killing too much. The nose cannot smell it, the naked eye cannot see it, but the body's instinct can detect it. This is like when a dog sees a butcher who kills dogs. It will. It is a reason that they would be frightened to the point of being unable to move. Of course, it is not ruled out that some people deliberately show off their aura in order to show their strength during the gathering. But Zhang Yi is obviously not among these people. Although many people died in his hands, he is not a bloodthirsty person. In essence, he only plays defensive counterattacks and attacks those who attack him. In addition to the long-term training of the heart, the way of hiding, his murderous aura can be well concealed. Even people who don't know him will think that he is harmless at first glance. Zhang Yi silently slowed down his pace and didn't let himself walk in front, because the leader is the easiest to be targeted. While hiding himself, he was also secretly observing the nearby aliens. Not only Zhang Yi, almost all the aliens who came here chose the same approach. They were wary of the strong people in the surrounding cities. In the end times, no one is a real friend or enemy. Everyone may cooperate at any time for common interests, and naturally there may be wars for competing for resources. Nowadays, the power of most cities has stabilized. If there is a dispute again, it can only be a battle between cities. Some of these strange people were arrogant and wanted to let everyone know how powerful they were. Some were introverted, covering their whole bodies in black robes so that even their faces could not be seen clearly. Some were calm, observing everyone openly and allowing others to look at them. At this moment, Zhang Yi suddenly felt a few unfriendly eyes coming from the side, looking at them. He subconsciously looked over. The teams in the carriage next to them were staring at them without any hesitation. Not only Zhang Yi, but others also gradually discovered the unkindness of this group of people. Chen Jingguan frowned and reminded Zhang Yi, "They are from Dae's city. Did you see that bald man? His name is Sun Jiaming, and he also controls a fleet. He had friction with us at sea before." Dae's city. Zhang Yi was very familiar with the city because it was on the southwest side of Tianhai City, adjacent to Tianhai City. He used to visit this city often. After feeling their unfriendly eyes, Zhang Yi couldn't help but glance at Chen Jingguan. "Are they coming for you?" As soon as this was said, the others also looked at Chen Jingguan. If it was Chen Jingguan's own personal conflict, others would not want to cause trouble for him. Chen Jingguan was a little anxious and hurriedly said, "Although we had some conflicts with Sun Jiaming in the past, they are definitely not just hostile to our Chaoyu base at the moment. As I said before, there are many people who think that our Tianhai city is weak and have ideas about us." Without him saying anything, Zhang Yi had already felt many eyes around him looking at them. Zhang Yi said calmly, "Don't pay attention to them for now, let's deal with things here first. This is Blizzard City. No one dares to act rashly here. What's more, if these people really don't know whether to live or die, Zhang Yi is not afraid of them." After hearing Zhang Yi's words, the people from several forces felt a little more at ease. The stability of Tianhai City now depends on Zhang Yi and his team. The alien forces in Dae's city saw that Zhang Yi and others did not react and thought it was a sign of cowardice. Sun Jiaming sneered, crossed his arms and said, "It seems that Tianhai City has really been beaten to pieces. They were very arrogant in the past. I heard that Wei Dinghai is dead. How can a mere Chen Jingguan support a team? When Tianhai City was strong in the past, every force was strong. Sun Jiaming's forces often collided with a Chaoyu base at sea, but they had to give way every time. Now that the forces in Tianhai City have declined, he can just get back on track. He can even consider going to Tianhai City to plunder the resources there." Not far from Sun Jiaming, a woman with big wavy hair and flaming red lips smiled coquettishly. "Look at their team, there are only a few people. It seems that the rumors are true. Tianhai City is so big and prosperous, but now it is dwindling. What a waste." This woman is Gu Hongdai, the leader of another force in Dae's city. In addition to the two of them, Chan Liangyu, the leader of another force, is also here. He was wrapped tightly around his body, with a blue scarf wrapped around his neck. He looked at Zhang Yi and the others with a sinister look, but he didn't say a word. But from his eyes, it was not difficult to see that he also had ideas about the people in Tianhai City. Not only them. There were also several other organizations in the surrounding cities of Tianhai City, and they were also looking at Zhang Yi and others with the eyes of examining prey. In the end times, the law of the jungle is universal. If you don't have enough strength but have a lot of resources, you will definitely be coveted by others. But now, although they have all kinds of thoughts about Zhang Yi and others, after all, this is Blizzard City. They have not forgotten the purpose of their coming here, and they dare not be presumptuous here. But what will happen after leaving Blizzard City is hard to say. After all, judging from the number of people who came from Tianhai City on this trip, they did show a weak state. When everyone got off the special train, a neat and heavy sound of footsteps suddenly came from the front. Everyone looked in the direction of the sound and saw a group of people wrapped in. Soldiers wearing black combat uniforms and holding black rifles appeared in front of the platform. Their uniforms were very peculiar, pure black, as if even light would be absorbed. Zhang Yi frowned when he saw their uniforms for the first time, because the feeling of these combat uniforms was somewhat similar to the combat uniforms of the investigation team, including Bian Junwu. But compared to them, the combat uniforms of Bian Junwu and others were not so standardized and should be custom-made. These soldiers wore black helmets and black leather gloves on their hands, without even a trace of skin exposed. But they stood there, as majestic as iron towers, motionless, as if growing on the ground. They did nothing, just stood there, and the momentum they showed shocked the alien forces in the 12 cities in front of them. Blizzard City Defense Force, Yenyun, the elite among the elite in the Jiangnan region. Special forces among special forces. This chapter is finished. Please like and subscribe for more episodes. Thanks.